Okay, we are going to tackle what's called the BC deck, like British Columbia. So A would be the bridge, B and C are medical decks and research decks, if I remember the Franz Joseph blueprints correctly. In any case, that's this teardrop shape here atop the saucer. The bridge is actually this rounded area, and that elevator that's supposed to be in back of the bridge is here. So if we go to 7, we can actually see, as a matter of fact, let me get out of here. We can see this teardrop shape here that Alan has drawn for us. And so it's rounded in the front, almost circular. It's teardrop shaped in the back. But then it's got this weird complex convex surface up top. And it's very hard to get right. So there are a couple of different ways that we can do this. And just to show you one fast way, which I actually don't recommend, what we're going to do is we're going to add a UV sphere. So make sure your cursor is to the center, Shift S, cursor to center, add mesh or Shift A, and we're going to hit UV sphere, and we're going to make this, actually we're going to leave it low res at the moment. So we're going to tab out of it, tab into edit, hit A, and then we're going to leave, here's the center line. As you can see, this would be the very center. We're going to leave that. We're actually even going to leave this next line. So we're going to hit A, deselect everything. Pardon me. Place our cursor between these two lines. B, select these bottom vertices. X, and delete vertices. Okay, great. Now we are left with most of a sphere. Tab, scale. And we're going to move this up. All right, so I don't want to move it up too much. I want to scale Z. Oh, sorry. First, let's make sure we're in bounding box. Scale Z, and I just want the top of this to match the top of the BC deck. Okay, great. Not that it matters. We're gonna wind up changing that in a moment. 7. And I'm going to scale this out to match the front half of our BC deck. But you'll notice when I go back to 1, our top to bottom is all wrong. So scale Z again, bring it down so that it kind of matches. But it doesn't really match. This top is all wrong. So I'm going to tab. And I'm going to just grab that center vertex. Go to 1. Now what we can do is come down here, and we've got this proportional editing button. If you left click it, you get connected, projected, enabled. And disable. I'm going to pick enable. And then there's different fall off types we can pick. And it's I think it's at smooth. So right now we're going to leave that. If I hit G for grabbing, and then scroll my mouse key, you can actually see how many vertices this is going to affect. So I've got grab, Z, and I move this down, and it doesn't quite affect everything that I need. So grab, I'm going to make this a little larger. Z, pull down, and that's not too shabby. Getting there. Grab, scroll, make it a little larger. Z, pull down, and we're going to leave it at that. All right, cool. It's not perfect, but we can always fix it later. Turn proportion. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to leave proportional editing on. All right, so now I want to grab this vertex out here. Let's go to top to look down. It is definitely the backmost vertex. 1. And we've already got proportional editing on. Let's grab and make that a little larger. So now I'm just going to grab this and move it out here. All right, so it's not quite perfect. Let's grab and move it. Well, actually, you know what? Better than I expected. All right, so we're going to grab another one and kind of move that up a little bit. And we're going to grab this. Okay, we're going to turn off the proportional editing, disable. And we're going to grab this and move it out here. A to deselect, B to get both vertices on both sides. Move that back a little bit. A to deselect, B to grab, move back a little bit. And then we'll do the same here. B, grab. And then A, B, grab. And then maybe one more. A, B, grab. And just move that back just a tad. Okay, good. Now, let's hit Z and see what this looks like. All right, we need to flatten this out. But, you know what? That ain't bad. All right, now, the only thing is, of course, it's far too low in resolution. It doesn't quite match the outline perfectly. But by golly, it's really close. So we're going to hit A. We're going to go over to Mesh Modifiers, add a modifier. And this time we are going to Subdivision Surface. And view is 1, so we're going to make it match the render. 2. Ho! It's a little much. So let's go back to 1. Whoops. 1 and 1. All right, so that's not, well, maybe we'll make it 2. 2 and 2. All right, it's a little much, but better than not enough. All right, we're going to, well, we can't apply until we tab out. We're going to apply and Z. All right, cool. So now we've got this selected. Let's smooth shade it. Go to add modifier, edge split, and apply. So actually, that's not bad. That is not how I wanted to, that's not how I originally planned to show you this, but it certainly seems to work. It's pretty darn close. There's another way where you can control it with the finer detail, but let's just quick add the texture for the hull gray and let's bring everything back in, the triangle, the hull, the lights and cameras. All right, so I'm going to grab this camera off to the side. I'm going to render it, and then I'll come right back. So F12 to render, and I'll be right back. Okay, my render is done. You can see our hull with our windows and glass textures in place. And we've got that BC deck up there with the same texture as the rest of the hull, same temporary texture. I'm going to hit F11 to get out of that render. We certainly don't need it. Hit 5 to get rid of the orthographic perspective. And you know what? That's not too shabby. But let's do some comparisons here. This was really mainly to show bridge height somebody put together. And here on the left is one of the two pilots. This is probably the first pilot, the cage. The second one is probably where no man has gone before. And the third is the production bridge. So they're really concentrating on this rounded thing up here. And you'll notice what they did was they actually chopped it off, got rid of this bottom section, and just took this top piece and lowered it onto the BC deck. And then they, I think this was actually after the restoration, that great big bulbous thing. But in any case, what we're looking at really is the BC deck. So it's this teardrop shaped thing. From the the closer you get to the front, the more and more it just looks like a rounded item. Here is another angle, an actual screen capture from the series. You can see that same teardrop shape. Here it is after its first restoration, where they did a really terrible job on the dish. They just put a bowl there with a spike because the original had gone missing or been destroyed. Same with the plastic hemispheres or frosted glass, whatever it was for the warp engines. They just put some plastic hemispheres up there and painted them turkey red, gobble gobble. But that's not the point. The point is this teardrop shape that has a flattish top. Everything else is rounded. I wanted to point out some other items. Here it is, a nice closer shot. You can see that the bridge actually kind of sits on this thing. We're going to ignore that. And it's got this metal disc right underneath the bridge. You can see where cracks were developing in the model around the windows, and here's some rounded ports. And I always like to put a lip on mine to make it look a little more realistic. We're not going to bother with that this time around. Here's a top shot, but I want to show you down here something that gets done incorrectly a lot. This is actually a rectangle and does not meet the rest of the hull. Let's go to a different angle here. That's just a closer shot. You can start to see, however, the bottom of this here, it does not meet the hull. It's only on this BC deck. There's this. There's the turbo elevator in the back of the bridge. This is the bridge, and this is some kind of sensor dome with a metal rounded plate and two what look like Christmas tree lights. So they're a pear shape, strawberry shape, actually, better yet. Let's go back and look at the next one from a slightly different angle up top. You can see some of that curvature in the back here, and this actually is not perfectly smooth. You'll see it gets rounder here. There's an odd transition between this round and kind of a flatter surface here, and then it's round again in front. Here's a side shot from Chris Trice from back in the year 2000 after the first or second restoration. Here is a top-down shot after before the first restoration, when the Enterprise was delivered to the Air and Space Museum. You can actually see 1, 2, 3 cutout windows and a painted white spot here that's not actually even cut out. Here's our BC deck, that teardrop shape, and here's where the bridge would go. Here's where the linear accelerator goes. Here's that infamous plastic disc that goes here. It was never lit. There are actually 4 running lights up top, 2 very small ones here, and then the 2 larger ones here and here. And a slightly different angle. You can see a little better back here, this teardrop shape. Here's what the bridge actually looks like. This would be the production bridge. It's cut down after the first 2 pilots, and you can see where the lights, those strawberry-shaped lights, got inserted here. And on the other side, here's the turbo shaft. Here's the turbo shaft for the turbo elevator, and then these got bolted on front and back. What else? Another shot of the BC deck. You'll notice on the port side, they only bothered to put 2 windows because they never shot it from the port side. And here, pardon me, you can see the full, decal, and it does not touch this bottom deck. It's actually sitting just a little above it. Slightly different angle, slightly different angle. Here it's really clear that this decal touches the linear accelerator and goes right up to the edge of the bridge. And then this rectangle does not touch the hull. I'm only going to show you 2 more shots, really close up of the BC deck. And then a pretty far away shot, but you can actually see more of the shape. This area is kind of flattened out on top, and then it's roundish with a kind of flat coming in on the sides. So it's a very complex shape. Now, there is another way that we can model that and have a little more control over it, but it's tougher to do. So this is okay, but it doesn't have that flattish section here. It's kind of round. It's not bad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit 1, 5, Z. We're going to get rid of the camera by holding Shift and clicking on our camera layer. I'm going to select our BC deck, and we're going to move it. So I'm going to hit M, and I'm going to move it here. All right. This next one is called box modeling, although I have also seen it, I believe, referred to as spline cage modeling, although it could be that with spline cage you actually put up little splines and then connect them when you are done. That's certainly possible to do. This is a little different. We're going to Shift A, Mesh, and add a cube. So we've got this giant cube. We don't need it so big. We're going to scale it down. Going to grab it and move it up so it's kind of centered hereabouts. Scale Z. And just bring it down so that the top is about there. Doesn't matter because we're going to do this anyway. Go to the top and tell you what, let's move our cube out here to number 3. And then we're going to click on just number 3. We are left with an unencumbered view from the top. I'm going to scale this out just a little bit. All right, so now this edge, and this edge all meet our rounded area. I'm going to now, oh, hang on, let's go to 1. And I don't want anything to happen to the bottom of this. I actually don't want the bottom to exist, so I'm going to rotate down, Tab, and A to deselect everything. Now, I've shown you editing vertices, these little things. I've shown you editing edges. But now what I want to do is I want to grab this face on the bottom. I want to hit X, face, and that leaves like an open box. It's open on the bottom, so nothing's going to happen on the bottom. The model will basically stop on these bottom edges. All right, so 1, deselect everything, Z. I'm going to go to the front 3, and let's go back to vertex mode, Control R. We get that nice little center line there. I'm going to left click. You could move that wherever you want. I'm going to right mouse click, and now it's in the center. Okay, so I'm going to deselect it. I'm going to go to the top. I'm going to B, and I'm going to select this half, these 2, well, 4 actually, outer vertices, right? X and delete vertices. All right. Now what we could do, make things a little easier on ourselves, let's go back to modifiers, add a modifier. We're going to mirror, get rid of X, and make it Y. Okay, cool. So we've got a ghostly duplicate box on the other side. We are not applying it. We're going to model like this. All right, so 7. And we're going to add another modifier. I'm going to go to Subdivision Surface. And you'll notice it's kind of rounding it out. 7. Now, I want to keep it basically low poly. But let's make the view 2 to match the render. All right, so it's not perfect, but it's low poly enough that we could certainly correct everything. But if we go back to just 1 on both of these, we have fewer things to modify. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to, of course, Tab, and we're going to apply. All right, so we've really only done this to half the model. Now, the one thing you got to be careful with is we don't want to move in the y-axis or up and down in this orientation. We don't want to move any of these vertices because we'll create a hole. Okay, we want to leave them perfectly centered. Now, like this. So 3. I should have left the whole box in. Oh, doesn't matter. All right, so I'm going to take this down so that I've got a nice straight line here. Then I'm going to make this meet in the center, and then we're going to do the same with the back. Bring that down, make make them meet in the center. And we can always clean it up if we have to. A. All right. So now, 7. We've got a nice kind of cubish thing. All right. And this isn't too bad where it is. What we're going to do is we're going to modify it a little. So we're going to hit C to select some individual vertices. We're going to grab and we're going to move them in, well, actually not so much. We're going to move them in a little bit so that the outer side of this edge is at the outer side of the edge of the circle. Then we're going to do the same. We're going to hit A, C to select this and this, and we're going to grab them and move them back till this edge starts to hit the outside. We're going to leave these two alone for now. All right, so now we're going to do something a little different. C, grab these two and just move them straight back. And we're going to go to 1, see how that looks. Okay, not bad. We're going to make some modifications here as we go along. Back to 7. A to deselect them. C, we're going to select here and here. We're going to move these back as well. We're going to add more vertices as we go. So right now, we just want this edge to match here. Not bad. It's reflected over here automatically. A. All right. Cool. Now, Control R with my cursor between these two verts here gives me a center line running down. So I want to deselect it by hitting A. C. Grab these two, move them back so that the edges here and here kind of meet the outside of this BC deck. All right, cool. Deselect them. Now I'm going to do another one. Control R and A. Now we can C, grab this, grab, move this a little closer. A, C, grab this and this, grab, move that a little closer. A, C, grab this and this, grab, move it a little closer. A, C, grab this and this, move that a little closer. A. All right, let's go to Z. Let's look at it from the side. Okay, we've got some wavies that we've got to take care of. But let's make it transparent. We've got it basically adhering to the shape of the BC deck from this angle. If we go to 7, we've definitely got it mimicking that teardrop shape. And we're going to keep modifying this until we get it the way we want. And although this is okay, I actually don't like this because it doesn't give us enough lines running down the back half. And I would prefer that we have that. So I'm going to Control Z a lot of these. The other thing is we could always just put in another cube. Anyway. All right, so we're back where we were with our slightly modified cube. And I'm going to throw in some extra controls. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go back even further. I can't go back any further. Okay. So I'm going to get rid of this. Woohoo! All that work for nothing. We're going to add another box, another cube. Scale it down. Okay. Move this up. 7. Wow. Lucky. All right, so scale just a tad larger. Great stuff. 1. Scale Z. want to extend just a little below the deck. And we're going to make some other changes as well. All right, Z, rotate to the bottom. We're going to get into edit mode, deselect everything, face. Still want to delete that face. Okay, cool. Back to vertices, 1, Z. Okay. So, what else can we do? 3. I'm going to split it down the middle, but I'm not going to delete anything yet. Instead, let's do this. Control R. Now, I've got it split front to back and left to right. And what we're going to do is we're going to B, and we're going to grab these back vertices, and we're going to hit X. Delete vertices. All right. We've got these verts out here. And normally I don't recommend triangles. We don't like making triangles. We want quads all the way if we possibly can. But in this case, I'm going to delete a face and and then we're going to delete an edge. So X, edge. All right, that leaves us with one edge and a vert here. And what I want to do is I want to create basically a triangle. So with this one vert selected in the center, we're going to pick this top one and this top one, and we're going to make a face. It's a triangle. So now we're going to do that again here. Face, face, and face. Okay. The reason is that now we have greater control here. Actually, I could just delete these 7, but I don't want to yet. All right. So now I'm going to B. I'm going to grab everything in the back. I'm going to extrude X and come out this way here. Not very far. Now I'm going to scale Y, so only in the Y direction. If I go to 1, it has not scaled top and bottom. 7. E, X, scale Y. Not bad. You want them outside the lines. E, X, scale Y. Whoops. Scale Y. E, X, scale Y. Not too bad. And then this is going to be the interesting part. All right. A, to deselect everything. And now this is going to look silly, but I'm going to hit C, and I'm going to select only this port side outer edge set of verts, X, and vertices. We're going to delete them. Okay, cool. C, we're going to grab this vert. We're going to grab both of them and move them in. And move them in a little too far. Okay, cool. A, we're going to hit Control R. Oh, it doesn't want to let me. All right. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to grab this one edge and delete the edge. Okay. Now, I'm going to grab these two verts and hit F to make a face. And while they are still selected, I'm going to subdivide. Then we're going to grab these two and I'm going to subdivide. Okay, cool. So now we've got a center vert here, a center vert here, and a center vert here. So I'm going to highlight that one, this one, and hit F, this one, and hit F. As a matter of fact, I could have, say, picked something like that and made a face. I'm going to do that now. So I'll make a face. And then these triangles, which I don't like triangles, face, triangles, face. Okay, so if I go to Z, 7, this is a solid object. Well, kind of, if you look at it that way. If you look at it the other way, it's not so solid. But that's all right. Method to the madness. So I'm going to Z, I'm going to C, grab those two verts, grab, and kind of make them align here. When we subdivision surface to smooth this all out, this will probably look a lot better. We could always add another couple of triangles. Hang on one second. Heck, in for a penny, in for a pound. Let's go to edge select mode. I'm going to delete this edge just to get rid of the faces, and delete this edge just to get rid of the faces. Okay, back to vertex selection mode. Select these two vertices, F for face, subdivide, select, subdivide, select, face, subdivide, select. That's already got a face. Subdivide. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4 selections. F face, make a quad. F select. Now, if these are getting in the way, like I feel they are right now, you can come over here and turn off the 3D manipulator widgets, and at least it's a little cleaner interface. I'm going to select this vertex, these two vertices, vertex, these two vertices face, this vertex, these two vertices face, this vertex, these two vertices face. Okay, so if we go to Z, looks kind of like a solid object again. 7, A to deselect. I'm going to grab C, I'm going to grab these two verts, grab, move it in a little closer. A, C, move it in, grab, move it in just a tad. Actually, that's good, but this one here, this one needs to grab. And then A, C, grab that, grab and move a little closer. Okay, so they're more or less equidistant. A, C, grab this, grab, and A, C, grab. Okay, not bad. All right. And what we are left with is down here. So down here, it's an open end to the box. 7. What we want is C. We want to, oh, whoops, actually. Let's just grab that vertex there. And Shift S, cursor to selected. So the cursor is now right on that vertex. Now what I want to do is grab C, grab that vertex, and this last one here. What we're going to do is we're going to spin again. We're going to spin, but we're going to spin in the opposite direction. So I want to spin 90 degrees. We've got 10 segments, which is far more than I want right now. So let's make that 2. I'm not hitting enter. And we've got kind of the same situation that we had out here in the front. So I'm going to A to deselect, C or B to select these two verts, grab X. I don't want to move them out of line. I do want to move them back to the outer line of this here. A, C, grab these two, grab, and move that in kind of like that. Okay, good. A to deselect. All right. So now from the top, BC deck looks okay. If we look at it from the side, however, we're going to notice some definite problems. All right. So, first things first. Let's move some of these. So I'm going to B and grab this. And then G to grab and Z and move them down just a hair. Pardon me. A, B, grab Z, A, B, grab Z. Pardon me. Sorry about that. A, whoops, A, then B, I'm going to grab these, grab Z, and then A, B, and we're only going to grab this outside one here, grab Z, probably make it kind of intersect that. Nah, maybe go a little lower. Grab Z. Okay. Well, it's not so bad. Not perfect. Okay, so we've got our spline. Well, it's not even a spline. It's actually a box. From the side, it's okay. From the top, it's better. Let's mirror this. Three. Okay, so that does it. I'm going to apply that for now. And let's go to add modifier, Subdivision Surface, Z. Take a look at that. Not bad. I want to increase the view to match the render. All right, so we've got some definite advantages over the last version, which was made with just a UV sphere. We've got the flattish center region that rounds out at the end to the teardrop shape. We just have some interesting problems up here to fix. Wonder if we can make that a little easier to manage. Control R. And Control R. No. That's interesting. All right, so still got an idea. I'm going to go to, you don't necessarily have to do what I'm doing here. I'm going to pick, say, every other edge. I'm going to delete them. And then I'm going to add back those edges. I am not adding back the full faces, just the edges to the center here. Okay, so now I've got this one selected. I want to hit subdivide. And I'm going to do the same here. Subdivide. See if we can control that. Subdivide. Subdivide. Now, of course, when we're done, we're going to have to go through and we're going to have to add those faces. And it sounds like people are setting off firecrackers somewhere. They don't realize that the 4th of July was a few days ago. And last one. Okay. Whoops. Subdivide. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to pick the center vertex and then say 2 others and face, and then we get this quad here, and face. So keep doing that. Do that for all of these. Okay, so if you're following along, I've got this set with a new line running in the center here because I want to try and control those funky subdivisions when we do Subdivision Surface. I'm going to go to Modifier, Subdivision Surface. Let's take a look at it from the top. We got rid of that weird funkiness that was happening here. I'm going to go to View and make it 2 and make it a little closer to what we're going to see at the end. Okay, so I don't want to do the Subdivision Surface yet, so I'm going to delete that. I'm going to go to Side View, Z, and now what I want to do is I want to make all these vertices at the bottom about equidistant to these. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect, so I'm going to go C, select something, grab Z, and bring it up, which means I'm also going to do this one here, I guess. A, C, grab Z, move that up just a hair. Oh, okay. C. That's not bad. A, C. I'm going to grab all of these. Grab Z, move that up there. And then A, C, grab these. Grab Z, G, Z. And then A, and then C, and just grab this last one here. Grab Z, G, Z. Okay, cool. A. All right, so if we look around, not too bad. If we go to Side View and Tab, and then include the top row here where we've got, what have we got here? Oh, we've got this one triangle in the center. All right, so tell you what, we're gonna move that triangle out here. We don't need it anymore. That center is now empty. Let's go here to the third layer, and we're going to move this to layer 1 for now. Let's go back to layer 1 and go to a side view. And matter of fact, let's go to Z and make it solid. And the bottom of that BC deck is definitely below the hull. Okay, cool. So 1, Tab, Z, and we're going to go to Add Modifier, Subdivision Surface. We're going to go to 2 of these and Z. Let's take a look, actually. Z7. Not bad. It fits all the contours very nicely. Let's go to 3. Not bad. Could stand some work where this is not meeting this edge here. All right, so we're not going to apply this yet. What we're going to do is we're going to grab this outer row here. So grab 1, Alt, grab the, grab 1, Alt, grab the next, grab the next. Okay, so that's not working. Let's do this here. Grab 1, Alt. Nice. Okay. So let's go to 1, side view, Z. I'm going to grab Z and bring this down a little. Let's go to 7. All right, we actually want to bring this in a little bit. So let's scale and bring it in just a little bit. So let's go back to 1. And we have done some bad scaling here. So Control Z. I am going to leave most of it selected, but I'm going to Shift and unselect these back points here. Okay, cool. 1, 7, scale Z. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. Scale. Let's look at it from the side. Okay, so let's scale back out just a little bit. All right. Not too, pardon me, not too shabby. Let's go back to solid mode here. And add modifier, subdivision surface 2. All right, so let's look around. We've got that nice teardrop shape. Go to 1. It's a lot closer. All right, so I'm going to grab Z, move that up a little bit. Z. All right, so now there are some things that we could definitely fix. But all in all, the shape when we subdivide it is a lot closer to what we want. All right, now, so what we've really got to do then is grab these. We're going to grab X, move them forward a little, and grab the center one. Grab X. I'm missing something. Oh, right. Grab those. 1. Grab X. Okay, what have we got here? Okay, so 1. Gonna grab that. I've got 2 verts occupying the same space, or more, probably because of that spin. So I'm going to delete this vert. And I'm going to reconstruct this. All right, so Shift. Actually, I can pick 4, make a face, pick these 3, make a face, pick these 3, make a face, pick these 4, and make a face. All right. So now I should be able to grab this. Bring that down a little flatter. Bring that down a little flatter. Okay, not bad. Let's see what happens when we add subdivision surface again. So, subdivision surface, 2 and 2, 1, Z. All right, this pretty much adheres. This pretty much adheres. Ignore the outer ones. Remember, we're going for the finer detail, which is below. And even here, it's not bad. Probably grab that. Bring it up and out a little bit because what matters is this shape here. Okay. I'm going to say that that's good. We're going to A, deselect everything, Tab to get out, Z to make sure that everything is pretty much right. There's a little something here. Tab. Got to round that out a little more somehow. All right, so let's grab that, look at it from on top. And here's a neat little trick. I'm going to grab both of those verts and both of these two bottom verts. And I'm going to scale Y and make them a little larger. Not too shabby. Maybe we grab this one, Z, bring it down in line and in back a little bit. All right, now Z, take a look again. A little better. Good enough. All right, one, it certainly looks like that smoother teardrop shape now works pretty well. We're going to go to 3. It adheres much closer now to Alan's drawing. It's not perfect, but it is close enough for what we are doing. I'm going to tab out of it, hit apply, and now we have a teardrop shape. Now what we're going to do is we're going to hit smooth, and of course we're going to add our ever-present edge split and apply, and then we're going to go to texture and we're going to add the hull gray, and now we've got a pretty decent teardrop shape that, you know, looks just about like the original. All right, texturing will be interesting. We're going to add a quick bridge. Now the bridge can be added one of a couple of ways. Actually, I'm going to, when we applied that, it got a little smaller, so I'm going to grab Z and pull it up just a little bit there. Okay, so now A to deselect the BC deck, and we're going to, we could either add a sphere, or I really like being able to make a unique shape. So we're going to match this shape as best as we can. What we're going to do is we're going to Shift S, move the cursor to center, and then we are going to Shift A, and we are going to add a curve, another Bezier curve, Z so we can see it, 3 so we can rotate it 90 degrees, back to 1. Heck, I'm going to rotate this 180. And then we're going to grab it and move it so that the center is pretty much in the center of the bridge here, right at that strawberry-shaped Christmas tree light. Okay, we're going to scale this down. Don't need it so large. And tab so that we can enter into edit mode. I'm going to grab this end vert with a G, move it down here just below the BC deck. I'm going to grab this other one here, grab. I'm going to move it up here to the center of the bridge at the top. And then I'm going to grab handles, and we're going to make this conform to the outer dimensions as drawn by Alan Sinclair. Now we're going to make some changes, just like we did with the saucer, pardon me, saucer deck. I'm going to grab this, make sure that the outline is pretty good. Grab. And as a matter of fact, we kind of only care up until here. This we're going to basically wind up deleting. So grab, and there we go. Okay, so now this front curve is pretty close to what Alan has drawn. We're going to hit Tab. We're going to go to Object. Come on, Object, Convert to Mesh. Okay, great. So now we got rid of all those handles. It is now just a mesh. I'm going to grab this vert. I'm going to move it over here. And that's pretty good. I'm going to actually get rid of these two. I'm going to highlight both of those, Shift right mouse click, X to delete vert. So I'm going to grab this vert, Shift right mouse click this vert, F for face. and then tab. All right, so, we're going to go back in. I'm going to grab this vert. Let's zoom in a little bit here. I'm going to grab Z and make this line flat, or as flat as we can. Grab Z, go down just a hair. There we go. All right, tab. So now we've got, actually, tab. Let's keep it here. We've got our spline. We're going to select everything, A. We're going to go to the top, and we're going to do what we did before. We're going to spin, but instead of 90 degrees, we want 180. Only 2. We're going to tell you what, let's make this 80, and let's make this 360. Okay, cool. We've got a full bridge shape. It'll be nice and pretty smooth. Tab, A. Okay, so we've selected everything. We're going to go to mesh. Oh, hang on. Scroll down. Remove doubles. There were 11 doubles. We're going to go to mesh, normals, recalculate outside, and then tab. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to hit rotate R 180. So that put that division line in the back where we would see it less anyway. Tab. Nope. Z. Okay, cool. So now it's faceted. We're going to smooth shade it. Of course, we're going to go to add modifiers, edge split, apply, and we've got a bridge dome. Okay, cool. Going to go to textures, click here, and pick hull gray. Nice. Now we're going to add the dome up top, and that's just going to be a part of a UV sphere. So A to deselect everything, Shift A, mesh, UV sphere. I'm going to increase this to 60, and this to, I would say 30, but I really want something odd. I want 31. All right. Whatever. Okay, we're going to make that smooth. We don't need an edge split on this one. Z. I'm going to scale it down. Scale it right down. Grab Z. Move it up. And we want the contour of this sphere to match that bridge dome. So this is still too large. Scale. Make sure you are on bounding box. All right, so that's not so bad. Maybe scale it down a little more. Grab Z. That looks just about right. So I'm going to tab, deselect it all. Let's move it up into the center here. I want to go below this bridge dome, so I'm going to leave this row of verts. We're going to B, select all of this, X, vertices, tab, and we're going to create, actually, tell you what, let's grab our glass texture, just because we've got it handy. All right, so Z, oh, it's black, right, I forgot about that. So let's delete that. And let's make a new texture. So it's going to look white. We'll leave it white, and we'll call this dome or something, dome and sensor. All right, cool. So that's not bad. I'm going to hit 5 on my number pad to get out of perspective view, tour around, and let's shift and include this bottom one so we get our cameras and lights back. I'm going to select the side view, Control 0, hit F12, and I'll come back when that view is rendered. Okay, the side view is rendered. It's looking nice. It's looking very much like the original 11-foot model. We've got our BC deck, we've got our bridge, and we've got a sensor dome on top of the bridge. We should add a tiny little lip of a cylinder up there. So this looks kind of like how it was filmed, say, season 1 through most of season 2. There were actually no new shots of the Enterprise filmed for season 3, believe it or not. The last one was for the Trouble with Tribbles during the 2nd season. Everything after that was just a reuse of either shots done for the pilot or for the first 2 seasons. In any case, we should put a little tiny lip up here. So let's go to view 1, get rid of shift this bottom layer, Z. We've still got the centered cursor, but of course shift S, cursor to center. Pardon me. Now we're going to shift A, add. We're going to go to mesh. We're going to pick a cylinder. We're going to make this, what was it, 80? We'll make it match the bridge. I'm going to scale the whole thing down. Grab Z, move this up here so that the center is just at the bottom of that bridge sensor dome. And we're going to change, make sure that that's bounding box. It is right now. I'm going to scale Z and then just scale. So we want something that's going to be slightly wider than the dome. So scale Z. It doesn't have to be very thick, though. It can be very thin. And Z. Okay, so I'm going to grab Z, move it up so it just appears over the lip. Of course, we're going to smooth and then to modifiers, add an edge split and apply. Then we're going to go to textures and materials. We're going to do a new one now. We're going to call this material silver. And instead of diffuse, we're going to real fast add glossy, kind of like a mirror, only we're going to rough it up a little. Where it says roughness, we're going to type 0.4. So now if we render that, that'll look slightly different. So that's, first we got to add back our camera and lights. And we haven't changed our camera. We're going to hit render and I'll be back. And here's our render, actually looking pretty good. If we wanted to save this, you would hit F3 on your keyboard. I would pick desktop and then give it a name. I usually make my images PNG, so I'm going to call this saucer side 01 and then dash 2018. Actually, you know what? I'm going to saucer side 2018 dash 01. Now we only have to change the number at the end. I'm going to save, so I now have an image of this. I should have added my name and so on. We could always do a background for these later. Right now, this is certainly good enough. We've got a bridge dome. We've got the bridge itself. We've got the lip between the dome and the bridge. We've got the BC deck. We've got the hull. We've got all the windows in place, top and bottom and along the saucer's side. When we come back, the next one is going to be very simple for the turbo elevator shaft in the back of the bridge. That's fairly simple. A little more complex for the linear accelerator in the back, maybe. Definitely we will do some more splines and so on for the lower saucer sensor dome. That's a few pieces that we're going to add there. Some of it's simple, some of it's a little more complex. You're doing great if you've gotten this far, and I'll see you next session.